What have we learned about him?
So far, we know he's 22 years old from Washington City. A spokesperson for Pineview High School in St. George confirmed to CNN that he graduated from high school in 2021. And neighbors have told us that he's extremely smart. We saw from a screenshot on Facebook from his mom's Facebook page, actually, that he got a 34 out of 36 on his ACT, which I don't know if you know that, but apparently that is extremely smart.
Pretty high there.
Yeah, in the top 1% of test takers. So that got him a scholarship to Utah State. He went there for one semester in 2021, but we know that after that he dropped out. He's now a third-year student in the electrical apprenticeship program at Dixie Technical College in St. George. And after looking through public records, it doesn't seem that he has any criminal background.
Okay, do we have any idea about his political leanings?
So according to voting records, he is an inactive voter, but he is registered in Utah. Inactive means he hasn't voted in the last two general election cycles. He was listed as unaffiliated in those voting records, but we know from Governor Cox's statements today that in recent times he had become more political and had talked to family members about disagreeing with Charlie Kirk's views. So that's about all we know as far as his political history.
Yeah, no indication that he had been radicalized or where that could have happened or anything like that.
No, all we have to go off of is conversations that he had with people online and on chats. But yeah, just know that he's become more political in recent times, but he did not act on that with his vote.
All right, Heather, thanks for bringing us more of his background. Kristen Schwierman has been one of Tyler's neighbors for 16 years, and she spoke to KSL TV this morning talking about the young man that she knew. She says she knows the family well, having worked at the school that Tyler and his brothers attended. Shock. That's how she describes what she's feeling today.
You know what I know about Tyler is he was always very quiet. He was very smart. He had just a real mellow personality, never caused any problems. He, like I said, he was smart and he kept to himself, and I don't know who his friends were as of now.
Kristen says she's been tracking this story ever since Wednesday. In fact, her grandson was attending Charlie Kirk's rally.
I did watch the press on the shooting pretty much all that day. My grandson happened to be at that rally. And then this morning, my son texted me and said, "Hey, this is Tyler Robinson that lives 3 doors down." And I'm like, no, it can't be. And it was. And it's shocking. That's not who's in our neighborhood. And I feel for his mom. I love Amber. She's a great mom, and he has a great dad.
Today, she is left with so many questions. We have more coverage on today's developments in the murder investigation of Charlie Kirk coming up in 60 seconds.
Monday on KSL. See the high-tech way that restaurants are trying to make it more affordable for you to eat out.
Is this the future of restaurants? I think it is.
Restaurant Revolution, Monday at 10 on KSL and the KSL Plus app.
Feeling frustrated? Ignored? Deceived? It's time to get Gephardt. Get Gephardt. Weeknights at 10 on KSL.
Do you have an IRA or 401k? It's natural to think of this as being your money, right? But remember, you still have to pay taxes when you withdraw this money in retirement. And you could be paying a lot more in taxes on these accounts than you know. A lot more. Learn the strategies that can help you reduce or eliminate your taxes in retirement. Don't miss a special edition of Retirement Solutions Radio this Saturday afternoon at 3 o'clock, right here on KSL News Radio 1027.
As Governor Spencer Cox spoke this morning announcing the suspected killer, Charlie Kirk, he spoke of the range of emotions he's felt over the past few days. He also offered a message to young people, many of the same young people who both loved and hated Kirk.
Over the last 48 hours, I have been as angry as I have ever been, as sad as I have ever been. And it was, as anger pushed me to the brink, it was actually Charlie's words that pulled me back. I'd like to share some of those. And specifically right now, if I could, I need to talk to the young people in our state, in my state, and all across the country. As President Trump reminded me, he said, you know who really loved Charlie? The youths. He's right. Young people loved Charlie, and young people hated Charlie. And Charlie went into those places anyway. And these are the words that have helped me. Charlie said, when people stop talking, that's when you get violence. He said, the weak can never forgive. Forgiveness is the attribute of the strong. The only way out of the labyrinth of suffering is to forgive. Welcome without judgment, love without condition, forgive without limit. He said, always forgive your enemies. Nothing annoys them so much. A few months ago, I referenced this last night, Charlie posted to social media, when things are moving very fast and people are losing their minds, it's important to stay grounded. Turn off your phone, read scripture, spend time with friends, and remember, internet fury is not real life. It's going to be okay. He again said, when you stop having a human connection with someone you disagree with, it becomes a lot easier to commit violence. He said, what we as a culture have to get back to is being able to have a reasonable agreement, where violence is not an option. Now, again, to my young friends out there, you are inheriting a country where politics feels like rage. It feels like rage is the only option. But through those words, we have a reminder that we can choose a different path. Your generation has an opportunity to build a culture that is very different than what we are suffering through right now. Not by pretending differences don't matter, but by embracing our differences and having those hard conversations. I think we need more moral clarity right now. I hear all the time that words are violence. Words are not violence. Violence is violence. And there is one person responsible for what happened here. And that person is now in custody and will be charged soon and will be held accountable. And yet, all of us have an opportunity right now to do something different. I want to thank my fellow Utahns. This bad stuff happens. For 33 hours, I was praying that if this had to happen here, that it wouldn't be one of us. That somebody drove from another state, somebody came from another country. Sadly, that prayer was not answered the way I had hoped for, just because I thought it would make it easier on us if we could just say, hey, we don't do that here. And indeed, Utah is a special place. We lead the nation in charitable giving. We lead the nation in service every year. But it did happen here. And it was one of us. But I want you to look at how Utahns reacted the last 2 nights. There was no rioting. There was no looting. There were no cars set on fire. There was no violence. There were vigils and prayers and people coming together to share the humanity. And that, ladies and gentlemen, I believe is the answer to this. We can return violence with violence. We can return hate with hate. And that's the problem with political violence, is it metastasizes. Because we can always point the finger at the other side. And at some point, we have to find an off-ramp, or it's going to get much, much worse. But see, these are choices that we can make. History will dictate if this is a turning point for our country. But every single one of us gets to choose right now if this is a turning point for us. We get to make decisions. We have our agency. And I desperately call on every American, Republican, Democrat, liberal, progressive, conservative, MAGA, all of us to please, please, please follow what Charlie taught me.
A poignant message from the governor for everyone to come together, no matter what side you're on, what your political view, seeing each other's different perspectives and using words rather than violence is the answer. After the break, let's dig into some of the legal aspects of this case. We'll get some analysis from KSL's legal analyst on whether or not UVU can be held liable for what happened there. But first, it's KSL Traffic. It's brought to you by Mountain America. Turn everyday spending into an extraordinary escape. Ricky?
Well, crews have been working on a crash in Tooele County, and this is on SR 36 Main Street southbound near Pole Canyon Road. Then in Utah County, I think they're getting ready to open the road back up, but we did have a closure for a moment due to a crash northbound Highway 189 at about 1100 North in Provo. Plan ahead for a full closure of SR 201 between 8400 West and SR 202 from early Saturday morning through late Sunday night. Rio Tinto crews are replacing water pipes. Ricky Meese in the KSL Traffic Center.
The season is starting to change. The temperatures are getting cooler, and it's time to make sure that your furnace is set for the winter. I want to tell you about a great company that has been helping me. They just replaced my furnace with a hybrid system, and that's At Your Service Pros. These guys, they're different. They're locally owned, they're family operated, they're 5-star rated and trusted by Utah families for more than 20 years. Right now, they know times are tough, and so they have some specials for you. They have a $49 furnace tune-up to make sure that you're ready for the season. They have 39 electrical inspections and $75 off electrical repairs because they know things are tough. They know that you need to prepare for winter. Now, if your system can be repaired, they'll fix it. And if it needs replacing, they'll show you affordable options. And they'll tell you about all the rebates that still are available, those energy-efficient rebates, which are ending soon. Let At Your Service Pros be your pro and go-to for heating, air, plumbing, and electrical. Call 801-YOUR-PRO or visit them at atyourservicepros.com. At Your Service Pros, 801-YOUR-PRO.
Let's go! You're still glowing, flirting, grooving. You still got it. But your immune system weakens as you age, making it harder to fight flu, pneumococcal pneumonia, RSV, and COVID-19. Vaccines are a key part of any health routine and help strengthen your immune response. Ask your doctor or pharmacist which vaccines you need. Schedule in minutes at vaxassist.com. Sponsored by Pfizer.
This message comes from Viking, committed to exploring the world in comfort. Journey through the heart of Europe on an elegant Viking longship with thoughtful service, destination-focused dining, and cultural enrichment on board and on shore. With small ships that bring travelers closer to the destination, there's more time to explore. And every Viking voyage is all-inclusive, with no children and no casinos. Discover more at Viking.com.
You need another bathroom. You want a back patio retreat. We have a plan. If you're looking to start a home improvement project, a discounted home equity line of credit from Zions Bank is an easy, affordable way to turn your home's equity into opportunity. Stop by your local branch to get started or visit zionsbank.com/HELOC to learn more. Loan subject to credit approval. Terms and conditions apply. See banker for details. A division of Zions Bank Corporation, N.A., member FDIC, equal housing lender. NMLS number 467014.
At Intermountain Health, we believe life is a circle. May yours surround you with insight, a healthy perspective, trust, and reassurance. The belief that our differences aren't that different, and compassion just when you need it most. Life is a circle. May yours help you live the healthiest life possible. Intermountain Health.
Cooler weather. What a relief, unless you have old drafty windows. Soon the heat will escape through the cracks and your energy bill's going to go through the roof. So now's the time to call Advanced Window Products and get brand new state-of-the-art custom windows and frames at factory direct pricing. The factory is right here in Salt Lake City, where they've been building precision windows since 1986, and you're going to save a lot of money since there's no middleman markup. You save 30, even 40% on your new windows. Even better, call now and they'll give you an extra $2,500 off on 10 windows or more. Double pane argon-filled windows with a low-energy triple coating, any style, any color, and Advanced Windows gives you a lifetime warranty. If you have an issue, they're not 10 states away. They're right here in town, and they offer 0% 60-month financing. So make the call now. Get $2,500 off. 801-850-9100. That's 801-850-9100, or go to advancedwindows.com.
You are listening to Midday. I'm Maria Shilaos. We are streaming on the KSL News Radio app, sponsored by At Your Service Pros. As we continue our special coverage of the murder of Charlie Kirk, we want to focus in on the legal aspects of the incident. Could someone sue UVU for what happened? KSL legal analyst Greg Skorda says anyone can sue, but he doesn't believe UVU has any liability for what happened.
First of all, Charlie Kirk's people set the venue up. They decided that it was going to be outdoors, and they brought their own security. And second, the university had its own security, and I don't think that it was reasonable for them to assume that something like this would occur. Now, going forward, events in the future, you will expect that there will be a higher level of security because we know now what happens and what could happen, so we can look back. But we hadn't had anything like that happen before. It wasn't necessarily foreseeable. So I don't see liability on the part of UVU.
Now, some people have said that this was foreseeable based on other political attacks, like the deadly shooting of a Minnesota lawmaker and an assassination attempt on Pennsylvania's governor, and 2 assassination attempts on President Trump while he was running for re-election. But Skorda says those events didn't necessarily mean that a shooting would occur on a person like Charlie Kirk.
I mean, anything's foreseeable. But what we talk about is what's reasonably foreseeable. I mean, even Charlie Kirk and his organization felt like it was a safe venue. They set it up. They decided that it was better to have it outdoors. And he had had numerous similar events without any problem. So that also shows their belief that what they were doing was safe, that the public was going to treat them fairly, and that something like this was not likely to happen. And by the way, there was law enforcement there, a law enforcement presence. You can say it should have been greater, but it wasn't like they just did this, had an event in the backyard of the school. They had law enforcement there. They had some security measures in place.
And what about students and others in attendance at the event? Could they sue the university for emotional distress?
I mean, I would hope that a student who is suffering from what happens there doesn't blame the university or file a lawsuit. Is it foreseeable that they might? Sure. I just don't see a case like that having much merit because the university, I think, acted reasonably in the way that they set it up and the way that they handled it and the level of security that they had.
Several Democratic lawmakers around Utah and across the country have received death threats following that shooting. With those in mind and looking towards future events with public officials.
After this event, the fact that now other public employees, other public officials are getting threats gives us all reason to up this ante, to have greater sense of security. Because now we know that sort of level of threat is out there. Whether it subsides or not, we don't know. But I would expect that almost every one of our elected officials has a higher, and judges have a higher level of security around them for the next little while.
In the next half hour of Midday, we'll hear from the Utah Attorney General with his thoughts on the case. It's 1:30 Midday at KSL News Radio. I'm Maria Shilaos. Some of the stories we are watching this hour. Many have said the deadly shooting this week of a major political influencer is indicative of the political world we live in. We'll get analysis. Officials say social media and the internet may have played a role in the radicalization of the suspected killer. We'll look deeper into that relationship and KSL traffic. Ricky?
Crews are still working on this crash in Tooele southbound on Main Street. Maria?
Looking at cooler temperatures for the next day or so before getting back into the 80s. KSL's top local stories in 1 minute.
This is a special report from ABC News. I'm Michelle Franzen. After 2 days of an all-out search for the killer in the murder of conservative political activist Charlie Kirk, police in Utah announced an arrest today, naming 22-year-old Tyler Robinson as the lone suspect. It followed days of searching the campus and neighborhood near Utah Valley University and authorities asking the public for help in identifying a person of interest. Utah's governor says Robinson's family and a family friend reached out to police.
Video from the scene and still images from surveillance cameras pointed law enforcers in the right direction. But FBI Director Kash Patel says an overwhelming public response provided the key.
We have over 11,000 leads that were called in to the FBI. Every one of those leads will be run out.
Patel says there's no indication that anyone beyond Tyler Robinson was involved in Kirk's killing. Jim Ryan, ABC News.
Authorities say they've also retrieved a rifle near the campus and analyzed cartridges and say some included engraved messages. This is ABC News.
KSL's top local story. Utah's Attorney General says they are right now working with federal officials to determine how best to charge the accused shooter. KSL News Radio's Randall Jepson has more.
Derek Brown says he can't say too much about the case because he is part of the prosecution team as the state attorney general. But he says right from the start, the local police, the federal agencies, they decided to check their egos at the door and work side by side.
We'll be exploring all of our options to make sure that justice takes place, not only for Charlie Kirk and his family, but for the 3,000 Utahns who were sitting there, many of whom watched this event.
He tells KSL's inside sources the state and federal teams, they have different charges and they come with different penalties. So right now they're working to decide who is going to file those charges. He says the overall message they want to send is speech will not be silenced. Randall Jepson, KSL News Radio.
Governor Spencer Cox had a message for America this morning. He said now is not the time to point fingers, but to come together. During his remarks, Cox pleaded for forgiveness.
Charlie said, when people stop talking, that's when you get violence. He said the weak can never forgive. Forgiveness is the attribute of the strong. The only way out of the labyrinth of suffering is to forgive. Welcome without judgment, love without condition, forgive without limit. He said, always forgive your enemies. Nothing annoys them so much.
Governor Cox said that in a world where politics feels like rage and rage is the only option, we can choose a different path. BYU is canceling several scheduled events out of respect for those impacted by the shooting at UVU. The BYU 150 Night of Light event has been canceled. The next one will be held October 15th and 16th, and True Blue Foam has been moved to September 24th. However, the BYU versus UVU women's soccer game tonight is still on. UVU's athletic department has asked that this match still be played on the BYU campus. Taking a look at your money at this moment, the Dow is down by 232 points, about 0.5%, sitting at 45,875. S&P down by 1 point, and the Nasdaq gets up by 90 points. Traffic and weather, it's brought to you by Mountain America. Turn everyday spending into an extraordinary escape. Ricky?
We do have good speeds on the Valley freeways, no problems there. In Tooele County, a right lane still blocked with a crash. This is southbound Main Street, SR 36, near Pole Canyon Road as you go from Stansbury Park down to Mills Junction. From system install to fast fixes to delivering award-winning heating, cooling, plumbing, and electrical, call Whipple Service Champions for the win today. Ricky Meese in the KSL Traffic Center.
20% chance of showers into this evening. That chance increasing to 30% for your Saturday. Cooler tomorrow with a high of 77, but back up into the 80s by Sunday. 72 degrees at the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios.
The sources where we get our news matters.
When you listen to Utah's Morning News, we want you to feel the stories are important to you and trustworthy. This is Amanda Dixon.
And I'm Andy Farnsworth. Join us weekday mornings on KSL News Radio.
There's a photo my wife took of me, sitting crisscross on the floor playing Legos with my boys. Might not sound like much, but back in 2020, I couldn't get down there without pain, let alone enjoy it. After 16 weeks on soda and 82 pounds gone, that picture means everything. It's proof that I'm not just present in my kid's life, but I'm active, engaged, and I'm healthy. Soda didn't just give me a plan. It gave me a partner, personal nutritionist who help me every step. Through grocery store trips, family vacations, late night cravings, you name it. If you're a parent who wants to be there, not just someday, but right now, go to sodaweightloss.com. Click the Request a Nutritionist callback. That's sodaweightloss.com. SOTA stands for state of the art. sodaweightloss.com.
Soda is, say it with me, state of the art.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
Welcome to the end of summer sale at AutoZone. We're celebrating the end of long days and short nights with big deals for a short time, like car wash. Right now, you can save 20% on the Armor All Complete Car Wash Kit. Need new brakes? Duralast brake pads are free with the purchase of Duralast rotors. We've also got oil deals and more. We're ending the summer right with the end of summer sale at AutoZone.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
Restrictions apply.
This is the story of the one. As a maintenance supervisor at a manufacturing facility, he knows keeping the line up and running is a top priority. That's why he chooses Grainger. Because when a drive belt gets damaged, Grainger makes it easy to find the exact specs for the replacement product he needs. And next day delivery helps ensure he'll have everything in place and running like clockwork. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
You're listening to Midday. I'm Maria Shilaos. When news broke of the shooting of Charlie Kirk this week, outrage quickly followed from people on both sides of the aisle. Many expressed shock that this kind of thing had happened, that it had happened here in America. But for people who've been watching the political discord sour over the past several years, it unfortunately wasn't a surprise that something like this would happen. That's not to diminish what happened at all, so don't get me wrong. But it is an example of the vitriol that has become just so prevalent on the American political stage. Joining me now to go more into this is John Cohen, ABC News consultant and a former counterterrorism coordinator at the State Department of Homeland Security. And John, it's pretty much just depressing what's happened here in the state of Utah. The governor, in his remarks this morning at the press conference, said that the state of political rhetoric in this country played a role in this political violence. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, I think sadly, the murder of Charlie Kirk and I would also add the school shooting that took place in Colorado on the same day are all part of a growing list that we have of attacks that we have seen over the past several years. Across this country, we have seen attacks by lone offenders primarily directed at law enforcement, churches, synagogues, mosques, elected officials and political candidates from both parties, election officials, schools. And in many cases, these shootings, though the specific motive may differ, are all being carried out by people who are very similar from a behavioral perspective. They are angry. They feel disconnected from society. They feel that their life has been filled with grievance. They eventually come to a place where they feel violence is the only way that they can communicate their opposition to government policies or to the views of others or their sense of grievance, and then they go out and they commit mass murder. What's fueling a lot of this violence, though, to your point, is a online ecosystem that is saturated with violent content and other content that's purposely placed there by foreign intelligence services, terrorist groups, criminal organizations, and others who wish our society harm, for the purposes of inspiring and informing this type of violence and even in some cases facilitating it. So, the political rhetoric in this country, which has become, our political discourse is so divisive and so polarized and in such a place where we don't view those who disagree with us as people to debate, but people to hate. That just is, lays on top of this flaming threat environment, and that's the situation we find ourselves in now.
So if there was anything we could do, I'm just talking about the bad actors from outside of our own country. We know how important free speech is to every single one of us. But is there some way to maybe let people know that these bad actors are there, and some way to let people know where some of these messages are coming from?
Yeah, I think that's an excellent point, and that's a big part of what we have to start doing. So here's the good news. I mean, I'm often accused of being depressing and scary, but there is good news. I mean, last weekend, while we've been sitting here thinking about all of these horrific tragedies that have taken place, last weekend in Washington State, law enforcement authorities in Pierce County received information about an individual in their community who was exhibiting all of the warning signs that we've come to learn precede mass casualty or attacks or acts of targeted violence. They quickly investigated it. They went to the person's home. They found guns. They found explosive materials. They found other materials that led them to believe that this person was about to engage in a mass shooting. They then took steps to stop it. They believe they stopped a mass shooting. This is what we need to start doing, and it comes from educating the public regarding the warning signs people exhibit before they conduct this type of attack. It means training law enforcement and giving them the resources to assess the risk posed by those people. It means making available more mental health resources so that those people that are in mental health crisis who are spiraling towards violence get the help that takes them off that path of violence. And then to sort of echo what Governor Cox said today very eloquently at the press conference is we need to turn down the heat on our political rhetoric. We can disagree with people, those running for office or the people, parts of the general public can be passionate about the avocation of their views, but we don't need to treat people like they're the enemy just because they disagree with us. And my concern is from a law enforcement perspective, we can increase the tools given to law enforcement. We can increase mental health capacity. But if we don't turn down the political rhetoric, we're going to be having a similar conversation in the weeks ahead.
Right. To your point, before we had any idea who this alleged shooter was, people were starting to point fingers and, conservatives pointing at those on the left and blaming them. That's the political rhetoric you're talking about. How do we tone that down and stop that from happening?
That we just have to make a decision, we as the public, we as voters, and those who serve in government need to come together and essentially just say enough is enough. We can have strong beliefs. We as Americans can convey our beliefs to others. We can even debate people. But again, as I look at the threat each and every day, because when I'm not on radio or on TV, I actually lead a team of analysts that look at online content, that look at what criminal organizations and how terrorist groups and foreign intelligence services are using the internet. The amount of hatred and the amount of content that calls for violence and instructs people on how to carry out attacks such as the one that we just experienced in Utah, it's everywhere on the internet, and that content is consumed by those in our society who are looking for an excuse and looking for the instructions on how to engage in an act of violence. So when you lay on top of that public figures who have a great megaphone, who in many cases are either mimicking the language that's on these extremist sites or their commentary is being amplified, like we're seeing already regarding the Charlie Kirk attack, being amplified by hostile foreign powers in a way to sow discord and inspire violence. That's a big part of the problem. And so law enforcement can't deal with that alone. And, as you pointed out, there is a protected right in this country for people to be able to convey their views. But we have to do a better job in understanding how this content and how this rhetoric is actually influencing violent and criminal behavior,
John,
and focus on the behavior.
I appreciate your time. Thank you so much for being with me. That is John Cohen, ABC News consultant and a former counterterrorism coordinator at the Department of Homeland Security. Several inspections were found on the shell casings used in the murder of Charlie Kirk. We'll break that down, what they mean, and the message that they may have tried to send. That's coming up in 60 seconds.
1-877 Cars for Kids. KARS Cars for Kids. 1-877 Cars for Kids. Donate your car today. 1-877 Cars for Kids. KARS Cars for Kids. 1-877
Learn today at carsforkids.org. That's cars with a K. Your car, running or not, can be picked up as soon as the next day. You'll get a maximum tax deduction and a vacation voucher.
1-877 Cars for Kids. KARS Cars for Kids. 1-877 Cars for Kids. Donate your car today.
Now accepting donations of land, homes, buildings, or any kind of real estate.
The murder of Charlie Kirk brings to light how the ever-changing internet has changed what we consider to be our social groups, especially when it comes to social media. One of the most impacted groups is Gen Z. A Gen Zer on our staff, Cameron Elliott, who is one of our associate producers, was talking about this in our newsroom this morning. So I sat down to talk with him about the Discord social platform and etchings found on the bullet casings found at UVU following this week's shooting.
Well, I think these etchings are really interesting because it kind of shows for lack of a better term, the new paradigm of shooter. I think that where the culture was 50 years ago or even sooner, where you'd see shooters quoting things like the Bible or something like popular literature, now they'll be quoting internet culture. And I think that the specific things that you saw here, like some of the comments made on there, will be entirely foreign to some other generations. But to younger people, these are phrases that they've heard before, and I think many will find honestly comical to see on the side of such a serious subject.
Mm-hmm. As a Gen Zer, give us your thoughts on social media, and is it making people more radical?
I think it's absolutely making people more radical. I think especially as somebody who graduated high school towards the end of the pandemic, I'd say that the isolation that people were experiencing during that time, they were finding communities online. And, when the world started to return back to normal, people were still comfortable in their online bubbles, in their online spaces. I think when people are online, they will be faced with information so often and information that is so often unchecked by real sources, real journalists, real institutions, that people can just be told things that are frankly untrue and harmful without having any sort of check. And getting information like that so often, as people are online 24/7 these days, it isolates them and makes them think, well, the world must be this way because everybody I talk to in these isolated online communities thinks this way, and therefore everybody must think this way.
Yeah, and all the information they're getting is pretty much directed to their current way of thinking.
Well, these algorithms that all these popular social media websites use are specifically tailored to users to appeal to what they are thinking and how they operate. So the world seems perfectly at their fingertips, and they seem to perfectly understand everything that's going on, even if it's entirely untrue.
Any other thoughts?
I would say that things of this manner will likely be more common in the near future. Obviously, God forbid something like this happens again anytime soon, but if it does, I wouldn't be surprised to see more references to popular culture or more people who frankly think it's funny to include popular messaging like the shooter did just a couple of days ago in their own terrible acts.
Cam Elliott is an associate producer on our staff. With such a heavy week of news, you might wonder how you can find peace, inspiration, and light. We'll have more on that in just a few minutes. But first, it's KSL Traffic, brought to you by Mountain America. Turn everyday spending into an extraordinary escape. Ricky?
We do have a little bit of busy traffic southbound to I-15 near the South Interchange on the way to Midvale. But overall, Valley Freeway traffic still in good shape with no delays. But we have a crash that's still blocking right lanes of traffic southbound SR 36 Main Street in Mills Junction. Your fall one-tank trip starts in Cedar City, Parowan, and Bryan Head. Scenic byways and highways, live theater, mountain biking, chairlift rides, ATVing, vibrant art, food, and downtown. Visit cedarcity.com. Ricky Meese in the KSL Traffic Center.
Power outages happen year-round and they're always unexpected. What's up, everybody? I'm Mike Wilson with Any Hour Services, and some people have medical equipment that needs to stay on, or maybe you don't want the hundreds of dollars of food in the freezer to spoil. Regardless of the reasons, Any Hour Services can help with a backup generator. Now, a lot of people think that backup generators cost thousands of dollars, but we have packages that'll run the essentials and start at less than $2,500. That includes the generator, the connections from the generator to the house, and the installation. We also carry and install larger generators that can run the whole house and kick on automatically when the power goes out. Of course, those cost more, but if you call right now, you can save $1,000 on any standby generator purchase over 9,000 watts. A licensed electrician from Any Hour Services will walk you through the process and show you what options are available. And if you need it, we have flexible financing options available, even if you've been told no in the past. To schedule a free estimate, call Any Hour Services today. Google Any Hour Services or schedule online at anyhourservices.com. No one helps more homeowners than Any Hour Services.
Respiratory virus season is quickly approaching, meaning we'll see more flu, COVID, and RSV in our community. The good news is vaccines are available that will help prevent these infections and keep people healthy. For flu and COVID, everyone aged 6 months and older are recommended to be vaccinated to help protect ourselves and our families against serious illness. Fall remains the best time to be vaccinated. Respiratory viruses circulate year-round, but peak late fall through winter. Your doctor can recommend which vaccines are best for you and your family.
Brought to you by Intermountain Health and KSL News Radio.
You're listening to Leaf Filter Radio, and the guru of gutter protection himself, Chris Coonahan, is here to take your most pressing leaf-related questions.
Hey, everybody, Chris here. I understand we have Ron on the line. Ron, where are you calling from?
Uh-oh. Ron, are you calling from a ladder?
Well, I was. I wanted to ask Chris what I need to do to get my gutters ready to have leaf filter installed.
Oh, Ron, you don't have to do anything. A Leaf Filter Trusted Pro will come out and clean out your gutters, realign and seal your gutters, and install Leaf Filter, America's #1 gutter protection system.
So I didn't need to get on this ladder?
Ron, Leaf Filter Trusted Pros are in your neighborhood and ready to help. Just visit leaffilter.com/deal to schedule your free gutter inspection and get up to 30% off.
Thank goodness. What was that site?
That's leaffilter.com/deal for your free gutter inspection today. See representative for warranty details. Promotion is 20% off plus a 10% senior or military discount. One discount per household.
When you take your grandkids to Disney, do they know what's in your investment portfolio? Do they even care? They're busy having a great time, and you're busy making memories. At Galileo Wealth Management, we understand the nuts and bolts of retirement planning, our investments, the stock market, taxes, Social Security, Medicare, and more. But think about it. What are you trying to do here? Is your goal to beat the S&P? Or is your goal to make memories with your family? Our goal is to give you the confidence to spend in retirement without the fear of running out of money. Call Todd Kim at Galileo Wealth Management today. 801-516-3227. That's 801-516-3227. Or go online to GalileoWealth.com. Let Todd Kim and Galileo Wealth Management help you make memories, not just money.
My doctor told me my cholesterol is borderline, so I took control with Garlic Healthy Cholesterol Formula. Garlic helps maintain healthy cholesterol safely and naturally. It's odor and taste-free, and Garlic is a world leader in garlic potency. I'm taking charge of my cholesterol with Garlic Healthy Cholesterol Formula, cholesterol's natural enemy.
These statements have not been evaluated by the FDA. This product is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease. The term natural references only the garlic in the product. Use as directed.
You're still glowing, flirting, grooving. You still got it. But your immune system weakens as you age, making it harder to fight flu, pneumococcal pneumonia, RSV, and COVID-19. Vaccines are a key part of any health routine and help strengthen your immune response. Ask your doctor or pharmacist which vaccines you need. Schedule in minutes at vaxassist.com. Sponsored by Pfizer.
This is Midday. I'm Maria Shilaos, and in a week where the murder of Charlie Kirk has brought about so much fear and sadness in the community, I wanted to end this hour on a more hopeful and inspirational tone. Tomorrow, more than 500 people will roll out their mats on the University of Utah football field in the state's largest community yoga event. Now, this is the third year for Nama Stadium. It's a one-of-a-kind event that brings together people from all walks of life for a morning of movement, music, and mindfulness. Joining me now is the organizer, Denise Druce. And years ago, Denise was my personal trainer, and anyone who follows Denise on social media knows what an inspiration she is to the community. Denise, thanks so much for being with us today. Boy, this type of event is so needed, especially this week. We need some inner peace.
Very much so. And Maria, it's great to hear your voice. I'm happy to be talking to you today.
Talk about how an event like this brings the community together.
Well, first of all, it's amazing just to be on that field and to be in that stadium that's normally just so booming and loud, and to walk in when it's just peaceful and serene and quiet. That alone is just so special. But like you said, right now, we need connection. We need to be around people who think like we do and don't think like we do. The first principle that I understand of being a yogi is this thing called ahimsa, which means do no harm. And in light of what has happened, anything that happens in life, I just need to ask myself, how can I do a little less harm? And how can I act in a way today that leads me and others a little closer to healing? And that's what yoga does, and that's what we hope to do tomorrow.
You've spent so much of your career getting people physically fit. More recently, you moved into this field of yoga and have incorporated mindfulness and positive thinking in order to make some real change in people's lives. You've even gone out to the state prison to train people and really make this positive change. Describe how that's been and what you've experienced.
It's been incredible. Teaching at the Utah State Correctional Facility is by far my most fulfilling job that I've ever had. I think we've talked about it before. My father was incarcerated for 15 years. So when I go in there, I see fathers, I see sons, I see sisters and daughters, and so I'm able to really look through those lenses. And they're all people who have had a difficult past. They're people, many of whom made one mistake. Some made several, but we get to go in there and offer these messages that help people go inside and do their work and start to see their responsibility in their own happiness and their responsibility in their immediate circle. So they're so grateful for us. It's just we change that environment every time we go in there.
Tomorrow, I mentioned that because tomorrow's event is a fundraiser for your nonprofit Yoga Forward, which brings yoga and mindfulness to prisons, shelters, addiction recovery programs, cancer communities, and schools. So I wanted to make sure that I mentioned where the money goes to. But I want to also mention that you put out so many positive motivational messages on your social media platforms. And I really would like other folks to understand how you feel these messages really do affect change in our community.
Well, I'm not sure if they do.
They do, just from the reaction. I mean, you have thousands of followers.
I guess it's when we are going through something hard, and I've been diagnosed with stage 4 cancer. And here's an opportunity. Here's a teacher in my life, right? Cancer is my best teacher. And here's an opportunity for me to practice what I preach and to put these yoga principles into action. And what does that mean? It means I can only control me. I need to find my center. I need to spend less time worrying about the future and the past. I need to learn how to breathe better and calm my nervous system. And all of those things are helping me so much navigate this hard thing. And then I just know that everyone is going through something hard right now, even if it's just life as we know it today. So I'm just passing on the medicine that I take, which is the mindfulness, and it's my best medicine.
Thank you so much for being with me. And the doors open at 9 a.m. at Rice-Eccles Stadium tomorrow for the 3rd annual NAMA Stadium.
KSL FM Midvale, KSL Salt Lake City.
While a massive manhunt was underway across the state of Utah, searching for Charlie Kirk's killer, a suspect found in an unlikely place, discovered by family.
A family member of Tyler Robinson reached out to a family friend who contacted the Washington County Sheriff's Office with information that Robinson had confessed to them or implied that he had committed the incident.
The time is 2 o'clock on Friday, September 12th. It's midday. I'm Maria Shilaos. Coming up, KSL News Radio's Eric Cabrera will join us live with details on the investigation and what we've learned about the man accused of murder. Also this hour, a congressional resolution condemning the heinous acts that took place this week. We'll get more details from Congressman Mike Kennedy in just a few minutes. But first, our top stories. Students at UVU are set to return to class on Monday, and while some of them tell us that they're not worried about their safety, they still have concerns following the murder of Charlie Kirk.
We were going to make it very clear that we're not afraid of violence. We're going to be out here no matter what.
McKinley Schinkel, his cousin, and another student were all out holding signs at the front of campus today to not only condemn what happened to Charlie Kirk, but also promote healthy discourse and coming together to end political violence. Ali Ajokai is a senior here at UVU.
There should be a turning point in America where we all have an understanding that political violence has no place. As a matter of fact, it didn't put any fear in us. It actually boosted and then fueled our fire to be able to fight and speak louder like Charlie Clark did.
The three are some of the only students I've seen on campus since the shooting. The only other people we've really seen are those driving around the roundabout or stopping to leave something in a small memorial. These students tell me they're not concerned about safety in general when they go back to class, but they are worried about something like this happening again at a future campus event. For now, they just hope they can help everyone unite and stand up to violence. At UVU, Adam Small, KSL News Radio.
Our top national story from ABC News. An immigration and customs enforcement officer was involved in a deadly shooting today during a traffic stop just outside Chicago. An ICE spokesperson confirmed the shooting in a statement to ABC News.
ICE officers say somebody who's in the country illegally has a history of criminal records with reckless driving. They attempted to stop that person. This person stopped initially, then they continued on, hitting an ICE officer, dragging that ICE officer a couple of feet. The ICE officer, according to DHS, feared for their life. They took out their weapon. They shot, ultimately killed that person who was driving the car.
That was ABC's Luke Barr. The mayor of Memphis criticized President Trump's plan to deploy National Guard troops to the city. In a news conference this afternoon, Memphis Mayor Paul Young said the city is already experiencing a reduction in crime, though he said more work needs to be done.
This is not a political stunt for anybody up here. We're talking about real lives. So despite the reductions that we've seen, the crime is still too high and there's still too many victims.
Mayor Young also said that there is nothing he can do to prevent the deployment. Taking a look at your money at this moment at the close, the Dow down by 274 points, taking back earlier gains in the week. That's about 0.5% down, sitting at 45,834. S&P 500 down by 3. The NASDAQ, however, was up by 98 points. Traffic and weather, it's brought to you by Mountain America. Turn everyday spending into an extraordinary escape. Here's Ricky Meese.
Seeing a little bit of unusual slowing northbound I-15 in Davis County, going through Woods Cross. It looks like it's starting to move again. Not really sure what was causing it. No accident reported in the area. Over in Tooele County, we have a crash. And a texter saying part of the vehicle involved with this was a semi that caught on fire. This is southbound on SR 36 Main Street, going from Lake Point towards Mills Junction. You'll see the right lane still blocked. Unplug from distractions and plug into family at the Utah RV Super Show, September 11th through the 14th at Mountain America Expo Center. Visit UtahRVSupershow.com. Ricky Meese in the KSL Traffic Center.
Forecast calls for a 20% chance of showers today with a high of 81. Cooler tomorrow, 30% chance of showers, and then the temperature is back up into the 80s for Sunday and Monday. Right now, 72 degrees at the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios.
Mornings are for recharging.
And they're for starting your day right.
We volunteer to join you in the car. Get news and weather at 102.7 FM during the most important part of your day.
Andy and Amanda, each morning between 5 and 9 on KSL News Radio.
Getting help with electrical repairs is easier than you think. All you have to do is call Any Hour Services or schedule an appointment at anyhourservices.com. No one helps more homeowners than Any Hour Services.
So my mother is thinking of switching from Verizon to Pure Talk, but she's worried the deal sounds too good to be true. Michael, she said, how can those Pure Talk people offer me the same basic service as Verizon for so much less money? I said, Mom, Go ask Google how much Verizon spends on advertising and promotion. A few seconds later, my mother said, "Oh my goodness, $12 billion a year? That must be a typo." I'll tell you what I told my mom. It's not a typo. Verizon spends $12 billion a year on advertising and promotion, and their customers are paying for it. Well, Pure Talk doesn't spend that kind of money on commercials. Trust me, I would know. Consequently, they can offer you and my mother unlimited talk, text, and plenty of data on a blazing fast 5G network for just $25 a month. Dial pound 250 and say the words Mike Rowe, and you'll get an additional 50% off your first month. That's pound 250 Mike Rowe. Pure Talk. Everything you need and nothing you don't.
I like that song, Old Town Road. My grandkids say that's so 5 years ago. But then as soon as I figure out who Sabrina Carpenter is, those same grandkids think she's yesterday's news. Music is always changing, but no matter how it changes in 5 years, there's one thing that'll stay the same: the price of your internet. With the Xfinity 5-year price guarantee, you get 5 years of the most reliable Wi-Fi with their best equipment included for a price that stays exactly the same. So if it's 2030 and the spotlight's dimmed on the current pop superstar, when there's a brand new sound that has the kids dancing with their earbuds in, you'll still be paying the exact same price for the most reliable Wi-Fi with the best equipment included. The Xfinity 5-year price guarantee. The music changes, the price won't. Restrictions apply. New residential customers only. Taxes and fees extra and subject to change. Most reliable Wi-Fi based on Open Signal Awards USA Fixed Broadband Experience Report August 2024.
Thanks for tuning in to Midday. I'm Maria Shilaos. Conservative commentator Charlie Kirk killed while exercising his right to free speech. And today, an arrest, a man accused of Kirk's murder. KSL News Radio's Eric Cabrera joins us live in Orem with more on how the investigators tracked him down. And Eric, what do we know about how police found him?
Maria, this all came together late last night when a family member and a trusted family friend went to law enforcement. They shared that Tyler Robinson strongly implied that he was behind the shooting. That tip was relayed to the Washington County Sheriff's Office, and quickly investigators here in Utah County and the FBI were looped in. And by the early morning hours, law enforcement had coordinated a plan to bring Robinson in safely, and he turned himself in peacefully at the sheriff's office in southern Utah.
Boy, that had to be an incredibly difficult thing for his family to do.
Absolutely. Investigators made it clear today that this was a painful decision for them, but a vital one. They say the family and their friend may have prevented further harm by stepping up when they did. No one was hurt during the arrest, and officers were able to resolve it without any confrontation.
So, Eric, what kind of evidence do investigators have connecting Robinson to the shooting?
So I think they've built a pretty strong timeline. Surveillance video shows Robinson arriving on UVU's campus Tuesday morning around 8:30, driving a gray Dodge Challenger. He was wearing a plain maroon T-shirt, light-colored shorts, a black hat with a white logo, and light-colored shoes. Here's the detail that really stood out is when investigators encountered him at the time of his arrest, he was still wearing that exact same outfit. They also gathered digital evidence from Robinson's roommate who turned over Discord messages. In those, Robinson talked about retrieving a rifle from a hidden spot, watching it to make sure no one found it, and even engraving messages on the bullet casings. Investigators later found that rifle wrapped in a towel near the scene. It was a Mauser 30-06 bolt action with a scope.
Tell us more about those engravings. There was a lot of speculation about those earlier this week.
Yes, today investigators confirmed exactly what was on them. One casing read, "Hey fascist, catch." Another had lyrics from the protest song Bella Ciao, and a third read, "If you read this, you are gay." And these engravings gave investigators insight into Robinson's mindset and what they believe was a politically motivated attack.
Okay, so what happens with this investigation now? Are they confident that he acted all alone?
Right now, Robinson is being held in the Utah County Jail, and prosecutors have 3 days to file former charges. Investigators are still tracing his exact movements before and after the shooting and talking to anyone who may have interacted with him, but they say they're confident he was the lone shooter. Governor Spencer Cox also made a point to ask the public for peace as the Kirk family mourns and the case moves through the courts.
Thank you, Eric. KSL News Radio's Eric Cabrera reporting from the UVU campus. Governor Cox came before a press conference gathered at UVU today to deliver the news of the arrest of the 22-year-old Tyler Robinson, the alleged gunman in the shooting of Charlie Kirk.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. We got him.
Cox shared details of the investigation that led to his arrest, including popular internet phrases that have been etched onto those bullet casings.
Inscriptions on a fired casing read, "Notices bulges, capital OWO, what's this, question mark." Inscriptions on the 3 unfired casings read, "Hey fascist, exclamation point, catch, exclamation point." Up arrow symbol, right arrow, and symbol, and 3 down arrow symbols. A second unfired casing read, "Oh Bella Chow, Bella Chow, Bella Chow, Chow Chow." And a third unfired casing read, "If you read this, you are gay, LMAO."
Governor also talked about the arrest that came after the suspect's family friend turned in the suspect.
A family member of Tyler Robinson reached out to a family friend who contacted the Washington County Sheriff's Office with information that Robinson had confessed to them or implied that he had committed the incident. This information was relayed to the Utah County Sheriff's Office and scene investigators at Utah Valley University. This information was also conveyed to the FBI.
FBI Director Kash Patel was there alongside the governor, complimenting the work done by local law enforcement and the cooperation with the feds.
In 33 hours, we have made historic progress for Charlie. Governor Cox, our partnership has been absolutely incredible these last few days. Our partnership will endure. Your state and local partners, your sheriffs, your DPS community has been unbelievably impressive in the hardest of times. And a case like this cannot be solved, cannot be brought without partnering with your state and local authorities. The FBI has a certain role to play, and we will play that role, and we will lead out for the federal government. But Governor Cox, we are so grateful for your state partnership that led out on this investigation.
And then Governor Cox stressed the importance of not feeding political fervor.
He said what we as a culture have to get back to is being able to have a reasonable agreement, where violence is not an option. Now, again, to my young friends out there, you are inheriting a country where politics feels like rage. It feels like rage is the only option. But through those words, we have a reminder that we can choose a different path. Your generation has an opportunity to build a culture that is very different than what we are suffering through right now. Not by pretending differences don't matter, but by embracing our differences and having those hard conversations.
In just 1 minute, we'll get the latest on a resolution in Congress condemning the violent murder of Charlie Kirk. Stay with us.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm, and Chuck McDowell definitely not an attorney. This is Chuck. If someone talked you into buying something really silly and you want to get out of that silly little thing, my advice, get the facts. Call me and I'll send you our timeshare exit kit absolutely free. Inside, you'll learn how timeshare works and all your options for cancellation.
Call Wesley now for your free exit info kit. 800-486-9600. That's 800-486-9600.
This is the story of the one. As a custodial supervisor at a high school, he knows that during cold and flu season, germs spread fast. It's why he partners with Grainger to stay fully stocked on the products and supplies he needs, from tissues to disinfectants to floor scrubbers. Also that he can help students, staff, and teachers stay healthy and focused. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Lawmakers in the nation's capital are taking action to honor Charlie Kirk. Representative Mike Kennedy and Senator Mike Lee have introduced a resolution condemning the assassination. Representative Kennedy joining me now. Thank you for being with me, Representative. It's become clear this week the influence of Charlie Kirk, especially on young people. But explain why you think it's important for Congress to approve a resolution.
The reality behind Charlie Kirk is he demonstrates the vigor of free speech, which is ensconced in our Constitution. And for us to pass this resolution on the Senate and the House side is a reflection of a great life of an individual who continuously engaged in vigorous political debate without any advocacy towards violence.
Describe for us what exactly is in the resolution.
The resolution describes Charlie's effect on his life, the fact that he reached out to young people. He's a devoted husband, father, and Christian, and found a turning point and frequently engaged in these vigorous debates. And our resolution continues to condemn the assassination and extend condolences to Charlie's family, especially his wife and the 2 young children, and honors his commitment to the constitutional principles of civil discussion and debate, which is something that we all should embrace. I don't care which side of the ideological spectrum we reside on.
Representative, it's difficult to see something like this happen in Utah, where we often think that we are immune from political violence. What kind of message do you think this sends to the nation about Utah?
I unfortunately agree that there's going to be a mark left that people will remember us for something that is entirely the opposite of what we do believe in. And I'll say as well, there are rare pockets of our society throughout the country that believe that violence is the answer. But I certainly know that the people of Utah, in my area specifically, Utah County, these people do not advocate violence. They have their disagreements, but we work them out civilly. And how do I know that? 10 years in the state legislature, routinely working with my Democrat colleagues to pass laws, and the fact that we work together the vast majority of the time in the state legislature is a reflection. We do solve problems, and we solve them together instead of trying to solve problems with violence.
In your mind, is there something that can be done, or is Congress looking at things that can be done to really try to prevent crimes like this?
Absolutely. That always should be the pursuit. And I know that there's as I've been in the state legislature, now I'm in the federal circumstances that I've got access to security. But I'll tell you, with the violent efforts of people out there, there's never going to be enough. I'm an Eagle Scout, and I believe in being prepared. But we go back to the olden days, these sort of things. 9/11 is a reflection of that. The Columbine violence is a reflection of that. Sadly, these things continue to happen. But on my part, and for those that are willing to listen to me and Charlie Kirk and others, is that we want to advocate the fact that we can resolve differences without violence. Violence will not silence free speech, and it will not silence the great people of Utah. So UVU is a great institution. Utah is a great place full of great people, and we will rise from this terrible tragedy. And God bless Erica, the widow, as well as those 2 children, and the many Utah citizens that witnessed this horrific event.
Representative, I appreciate your time. Thank you so much for being with me today.
Thanks for having me.
That is Representative Mike Kennedy. He and Senator Mike Lee have introduced a resolution condemning the assassination of Charlie Kirk in Congress. After the break, we'll take a look at some of the other top stories in Utah today. But first, it is KSL Traffic. It's brought to you by Mountain America. Turn everyday spending into an extraordinary escape. Ricky?
We do have a new accident. It's southbound I-15. It's about halfway between 7200 South and before 90th South. They're now out of traffic on the left shoulder, but delays stretch back to the south interchange. From system install to fast fixes to delivering award-winning heating, cooling, plumbing, and electrical. Call Whipple Service Champions for the win today. Ricky Meese in the KSL Traffic Center.
Everybody knows that exterior remodeling salespeople are all about the high-pressure sell. Am I right? Windows, siding, gutters, those suckers are going to twist your arm and get you to buy, or they won't leave your house at night. Tim Jr. here from RGS Exteriors, and I want you to know we don't have high-pressure cells. In fact, we don't even have salespeople. Nope, we have estimators. That's a huge difference. Estimators are trained to look at the entire scope of the project, to see and know if there are any problems, like rotten wood, wood-borne insects, or construction issues specific to your house or your neighbors. Salespeople are more concerned about playing those silly price games. Buy one, get one free, sign today and get 40% off, as if they didn't just jack the price up to give you a fake discount. RGS Exteriors estimators are going to give you a great quote. No games, no tricks, no nonsense. Call RGS Exteriors to quote your exterior project. Our number is 801-280-3110 or visit us at rgsutah.com. That's rgsutah.com.
My doctor told me my cholesterol is borderline, so I took control with Garlic Healthy Cholesterol Formula. Garlic helps maintain healthy cholesterol safely and naturally. It's odor and taste-free, and Garlic is a world leader in garlic potency. I'm taking charge of my cholesterol with Garlic Healthy Cholesterol Formula, cholesterol's natural enemy.
These statements have not been evaluated by the FDA. This product is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease. The term natural references only the garlic in the product. Use as directed.
You're still glowing, flirting, grooving. You still got it. But your immune system weakens as you age, making it harder to fight flu, pneumococcal pneumonia, RSV, and COVID-19. Vaccines are a key part of any health routine and help strengthen your immune response. Ask your doctor or pharmacist which vaccines you need. Schedule in minutes at vaxassist.com. Sponsored by Pfizer.
A reminder about the simplest way to get updated for your day.
Hit your KSL preset when you jump in the car, and we'll take care of the rest.
Hear key news updates and traffic reports.
Andy and Amanda from 5 to 9 in your car.
KSL News Radio at 102.7 FM.
The power of we believes in you. It advocates for you. It completes your circle. It makes sure you have the strongest circle possible. And with Intermountain Health in yours, you'll always have the care you need to live the healthiest life possible. That's the power of we. Intermountain Health.
You need a deck. You want a pool. We have a plan. If you're looking to start a home improvement project, a discounted home equity line of credit from Zions Bank is an easy, affordable way to turn your home's equity into opportunity. Stop by your local branch to get started or visit zionsbank.com/HELOC to learn more. Loan subject to credit approval. Terms and conditions apply. See banker for details. A division of Zions Bank Corporation, N.A. member FDIC, equal housing lender. NMLS number 467014.
Get in the zone, AutoZone. Summer's almost over, but the heat is pressing on. If you've got battery trouble, stop by AutoZone for free battery testing. It may just need a charge, and we'll do that for free too. If you do need a battery, we've got options starting at just $89.99, and we'll recycle your old battery for free. Now that's a strong start. Don't miss the end of summer sale, now at AutoZone until September 22nd. Get in the zone, AutoZone. Restrictions apply.
Looking for a job is lonely. Endless searching, phone calls that go nowhere, applications that vanish into thin air. What if you could link with dozens of local companies who are hiring right now with just one connection? That's Express Employment Professionals. Find us at expresspros.com. One connection, endless opportunities, and no fees ever for job seekers. Express Employment Professionals. expresspros.com.
You are listening to Midday. I'm Maria Shilaos. We are streaming on the KSL News Radio app, sponsored by At Your Service Pros. Changes will be coming to downtown Salt Lake City as the city approves plans for a parking garage to be attached to the iconic Delta Center. I spoke to Building Salt Lake's Jacob Scholl to learn more about the development.
The Salt Lake City Council voted on a zoning map amendment, but also, that includes a master development agreement to essentially build a 7-story parking garage at the southwest corner of the Delta Center. So kind of just some of the brief details of the garage itself. Like I said, 7 stories, but it would include around 450 parking stalls. That number has fluctuated a little bit, since this proposal was first brought up. But, essentially it creates a lot more parking for not only the people attending events at the Delta Center, but also the ground floor would allow for a pretty good amount of space for, trucks and equipment that's coming in for, whether it's Disney on Ice or different concerts and that sort of thing.
Scholl says that parking likely won't be an extra cost. He anticipates that the parking fees would be part of the event tickets for the Delta Center.
The parking in the structure would be included in certain ticket packages. So, if you have floor seats or, box seats or anything like that, this parking garage would have dedicated parking for people with those tickets. They would have direct entry and that sort of thing. So that's kind of an overview of what the parking garage would look like.
And he says there was a little bit of drama in this week's city council vote.
So some of the drama was just that council member Ava Lopez Chavez, who represents downtown, she was not
in attendance last night and was trying to, call in, that sort of thing, be on a Zoom call. And for whatever reason, there was some technical difficulties, but so she was unable to cast a vote for this particular project. I'm not exactly clear on the background, but her fellow council members essentially said, we think it's pretty likely she would have been a no vote on this. I'm not exactly clear on what her potential objections would be. And, of course, I'm just going off of what, Salt Lake City council members were saying during the formal meeting last night. So that was the one council member that did not cast a vote, but the rest of the council voted in favor of the parking garage.
Some city planners had expressed concern that the parking structure may be an eyesore, but the developers have dedicated funds to landscaping and other visual elements to make sure that the building fits in well.
Since the Planning Commission meeting, SEG has made a number of additions. So, they're adding landscaping to that area, so kind of softens the look a little bit, as well as I believe the number is $75,000 that Smith Entertainment Group has dedicated toward adding art elements, as the city likes to call it, visual activation.
The City Council and Smith Entertainment Group, which owns the Delta Center, say this additional parking should help relieve congestion around downtown. You've heard of people who like digging caves on their properties. Some people just have a bit of a gopher in them, I guess. But get this, a rather large hole that appeared under an overpass off I-215 was allegedly dug by a man. Police say a 45-year-old is responsible for digging the hole and using it as a living space. He's sitting in jail right now on charges of criminal mischief. This isn't a tiny hole either. It's estimated to be 6 by 6 feet in width. UDOT maintenance crews found the cavern after receiving a tip yesterday afternoon. Now, the spot was in an area marked with a no trespassing sign. John Gleason from the Utah Department of Transportation tells us the whole story.
Yesterday afternoon, our crews were made aware that there was a hole that was dug into the ground near the I-15, I-215 South Interchange. It's near a bridge, the flyover ramp there, and in an area that people really shouldn't be accessing. It's a no trespassing, fenced off location, and the reason you wouldn't want to go in there is because it's not a safe situation for folks to be in. It's close to a tracks line. There's freeway traffic that's nearby. It's close to a bridge, and it's just not a place that people should be hanging out in, and so it's concerning when you see trespassing out there, because number one, we want to protect people, we want to keep people safe, and we want to keep our crews safe as well, and you never know why somebody is out there digging. It's just not something that you expect to see, and so it's concerning, and it's something that we would want to ask people, definitely don't go out there near the freeway. It's an area that really none of us belong in.
Gleason says that although he and his team were curious about the hole's origin, they're primarily focused on the matter of public safety.
At this point, all we know is that we want to get that hole repaired, and we'll have our bridge inspectors come out there, and we don't anticipate that there's any safety concerns with any nearby bridges, but it's something that we always want to take precautions with, and if there's anything that needs to be addressed, that we can make those decisions as well. But anytime you have to go out there and fill a hole like this, it's fairly sizable. It's a cost for the resources, the time, and the materials and equipment that are going to be out there.
If you want to see what the cavern looks like, it's pretty incredible to see. We have a video posted on our website at kslnewsradio.com and on our Instagram. You want to check it out. It's actually pretty amazing. It's 2:30 midday at KSL News Radio. I'm Maria Shilaos. Some of the stories we are watching this hour are major rebuilds coming to high schools in Salt Lake City, including the oldest high school in the state. Free parking in Salt Lake City might only be something you'd find on a classic board game with a custom spin. I'll tell you more. And KSL traffic, Ricky.
A crash on southbound I-15 before 90th South causing delays. Maria?
You could experience a bit of rain for your weekend. 20% chance today, 30% chance tomorrow. Expected to be a lot cooler tomorrow. We'll check KSL's top local stories coming up in 1 minute. But first, let's get the latest from ABC News.
This is a special report from ABC News. I'm Michelle Franzen. In Utah, a 22-year-old was arrested today in the murder of conservative activist Charlie Kirk. Governor Spencer Cox says images and video released showing the suspect at Utah Valley University caused his family to come forward.
A family member of Tyler Robinson reached out to a family friend who contacted the Washington County Sheriff's Office with information that Robinson had confessed to them or implied that he had committed the incident.
Calls are growing to stop the political violence. ABC's Pierre Thomas says law enforcement is facing new challenges.
Make no mistake, we're in the midst of an extraordinary time, a challenging time, and what law enforcement is telling me is that they're going to have to rethink their efforts of how to apply resources to try to get on the front side of individuals like this who may be planning acts of violence.
Some lawmakers have also voiced safety concerns. This is ABC News.
Governor Spencer Cox is warning all of us to not believe everything we see about this case that's circulating on social media.
Governor Cox says they have been working closely with attorneys to build a case and they intend to pursue the death penalty. He also warned against social media.
What we're seeing is our adversaries want violence. China, we have bots from Russia, China, all over the world that are trying to instill disinformation and encourage violence.
He says they will have more information related to that later. Instead of spending time on social media, he suggests spending time with family and friends. Brianna Willis, KSL News Radio.
Utah Attorney General Derek Brown is part of the prosecution team going over the evidence against the suspected shooter, the suspected Charlie Kirk shooter, I should say. He tells Inside Sources the state and federal prosecutors are working side by side.
There are different charges that can be brought under the federal arena and under the state legal regime. And so what we'll do is we'll work together to figure out what makes the most sense and what brings about justice.
He says they've all checked their egos at the door as they decide who will eventually file the charges. He says the message they want to send is speech cannot be silenced. We could potentially be seeing lawsuits filed against the university in the wake of the shooting, but experts say they won't likely lead anywhere. KSL News Radio's Alexandria Bonilla reports.
Charlie Kirk's team selected the location. KSL legal analyst and host of Inside Sources, Greg Skordas, says this is not something the university could have foreseen or prepared for.
There was law enforcement there, a law enforcement presence. You can say it should have been greater, but it wasn't like they just did this, had an event in the backyard of the school. They had law enforcement there. They had some security measures in place.
He says going forward, events like this will likely have a higher sense of security.
Skorda says public officials, activists, and judges will also likely have a higher sense of security for the next little while. If you left behind any belongings at the UVU courtyard because of the shooting, university officials say you can now come and get them. They say if you left anything behind, head to the Young Living Alumni Center to pick it up. Other local stories we are following, it is Football Friday with all kinds of high school games slated tonight. And we have college football tomorrow. The Utah Utes will be in Laramie playing the Wyoming Cowboys. Utah State is hosting Air Force in Logan. BYU has a bye week this weekend and then heads to East Carolina a week from tomorrow. Taking a look at your money at this moment. At the close, the Dow down by 273 points, more than 0.5%, sitting at 45,834. Couldn't quite hold on to that 46,000 mark. S&P 500 down by 3. The NASDAQ, though, it's up by 98 points. Traffic and weather brought to you by Mountain America. Turn everyday spending into an extraordinary escape. Here's Ricky Meese.
And Maria, I'm afraid we have emergency traffic on northbound I-15 in Murray. Looks like multiple vehicles involved with this possible debris. I think it's a crash. It may just be UHP. They are looking at the ground as if maybe something's wrong with the freeway pavement and surface. Right now, only 1 to 2 right lanes of traffic getting by northbound I-15. And that means we have delays stacking up very quickly from 5300 South back to Midvale. And that includes the delays on the southbound side of I-15 from an earlier crash prior to 90th South, with traffic backed up to 45th South Murray. Head up the mountain to Junction Commons, Park City. Cooler temps, hotter deals, and happy kids. Junction Commons, Park City. Style up and stress down. Ricky Meese in the KSL Traffic Center.
Slight chance of showers today, 30% chance tomorrow. Today's high at 81, 77 tomorrow, back up into the 80s by Sunday, and that chance of rain evaporates on Sunday. 72 degrees at the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios.
Traffic's rough, but your parking lot doesn't have to be. GoPave Utah keeps things smooth with expert asphalt maintenance at GoPaveUtah.com. Call or visit GoPaveUtah.com.
So my mother is thinking of switching from Verizon to Pure Talk, but she's worried the deal sounds too good to be true. Michael, she said, how can those Pure Talk people offer me the same basic service as Verizon for so much less money? I said, Mom, go ask Google how much Verizon spends on advertising and promotion. A few seconds later, my mother said, oh my goodness, $12 billion a year? That must be a typo. I'll tell you what I told my mom. It's not a typo. Verizon spends $12 billion a year on advertising and promotion, and their customers are paying for it. Well, Pure Talk doesn't spend that kind of money on commercials. Trust me, I would know. Consequently, they can offer you and my mother unlimited talk, text, and plenty of data on a blazing fast 5G network for just $25 a month. Dial pound 250 and say the words Mike Rowe, and you'll get an additional 50% off your first month. That's pound 250 Mike Rowe. Pure Talk. Everything you need and nothing you don't.
At BMW of Pleasant Grove, we believe that driving should be more than just a commute. It should be an experience. Feel the perfect fusion of performance, technology, and luxury with our stunning lineup of new and certified pre-owned BMWs. From the exhilarating drive of a 3 or 5 Series to the spacious elegance of an X7, experience a transparent and effortless car buying experience. Visit us at bmwofpg.com. BMW of Pleasant Grove. The ultimate driving machine is closer than you think.
Turn everyday spending into an extraordinary escape. Shop with any Mountain America credit or debit card for a chance to win a $5,000 vacation voucher. Simply tap, insert, swipe, or click to be entered to win now until October 31st. Use any card, win any trip from Mountain America Credit Union. Visit macu.com/anycard for official rules or to apply. Loans on approved credit. Membership required based on eligibility. Insured by NCUA. Limited time offer. Offer can change or be withdrawn at any time.
You're listening to Midday. I'm Maria Shilaos. Construction will soon get underway to rebuild 2 of Salt Lake City's oldest high schools. Plans are being finalized for construction on both Highland and West High. Public Information Officer for the district, Jason Olson, tells me that plans have been in the works for a long time.
We're really excited. These are 2 big projects. I mean, these are big, comprehensive high schools. But the matter of the fact is they're old. They don't support the technology we use today in education. They've had, additions made to each of the schools. They're kind of cobbled together. They can't support the wiring and everything else. And some of the classrooms, just don't fit for what we need in today's education. So we're actually kind of excited to be able to, enhance these buildings and rebuild them into modern, new, fantastic learning facilities.
Mm-hmm. Let's just focus for a minute on West. And I know whenever you go to replace a school, anybody who's gone to high school has incredible memories of their school, and it's tough for them to lose parts of it. What is being done to maybe preserve parts of West High so they still have that feel for those old students, the alumni?
That's so true. West High School is the oldest school in the state. That main building there is well over 100 years old. And it is. It's an icon as you drive into Salt Lake City. We took this into account as we were looking, what can we do with this school? And the architects we hired actually came up with 4 options, all the way from preserving the entire school and renovating it so it would work and it would fit with what we need, to tearing the whole thing down. And we've kind of agreed at a compromise, one that's, a good economic choice, but one that's not going to, harm the students, or disrupt their education in any way. And what they're going to do there is they are taking pieces, some of those cement decorative pieces that you see on the front of the school. They're going to take some of those and transfer them into the new school. And then probably the biggest piece is we're going to actually plan on leaving that front entrance and that clock tower. And that's going to serve as an entrance into our athletic facilities when this new building is done.
Oh, nice compromise. So tell us about the public comment period and what folks had to say. What was important to them in preserving things at West High?
You know, it was interesting last night at our open house. You know, because we're going to be moving that school. If you remember West High School, we kind of have the school on the west side of 300 West, and we have our track and field space on the east side of 300 West. Those are actually going to be flip-flopping as we do this new construction. But this way we keep the students in the current school, not have to put them in portables or anything, but we'll build the new building over where the track and field is currently. And then once the students move over, we'll tear down that old building except that front entrance, that clock tower, and build athletic fields there. And so as people talked last night, they were, you know, a little bit surprised by that if they hadn't heard that yet. But a lot of them like the idea, and it actually allows us to do construction a little bit quicker.
So tell us about the timeline for that school.
Construction on the main building begin about 2026. Unfortunately, it's not a quick process.
Okay, think about this for a minute. West High was established in 1890 and has remained largely the same since then. Hughes General Contractors has been hired for the $275 million project, and the company's Jed Hackey tells KSL News Radio's Tammy Kikuchi it's a huge multi-phase project.
The majority of the building will be on the east side of 300 West. They're calling that the Capitol Campus. On that side of the road where the athletics fields currently are, we're going to be building their academics, performing arts building. Administration will be the main building there. We're also going to be building their gymnasium and field house, that Capitol Campus. That's going to take the next 4.5 years or so from now until fall of 2030 is when we'll be turning that over. So that's the lion's share of the project. Once we get that done, then we're going to get to the west, what they're calling the West Campus, the existing building, and rebuilding all of the fields, athletic fields on that side of the road, and tearing down much of the existing school. We're going to keep, you know, it's kind of to be determined at this point exactly how much we're going to keep, but it will be at least the main entry of the existing building, and so that's kind of what I know at this point.
He says the district is still working on plans for where the baseball, softball, and track fields will be relocated.
From what I understand, they'll be playing, doing track events and maybe lacrosse and soccer at Glendale Middle School. And then they're partnering with Salt Lake City to do their baseball, softball off-site as well. Football will be largely unaffected. I don't have any knowledge there of what the game plan is in 4 years when we need to take over their football field.
Hackey says he's confident that Hughes has the right team in place to complete the main campus by the fall of 2030.
You know, we put a lot of time into the just kind of figuring things out and have a great team lined out to do the job between our project management team and our superintendent team. We've got, 4 incredibly qualified guys that'll be spending a lot of their waking hours, on the project. And, so we're grateful we had the right team in the right place at the right time. And I think that plays into it quite well. We're proud of our track record, across the state with what we do and how we do things and how we finish projects and things of that nature. And with this team in particularly, we have a really good reputation with these guys, and couple that with our company in general, it's an amazing fit for us.
Once that main campus is done, the existing school will be demolished and new athletic fields will be built. The existing football field will remain on the west side. And the district's Jason Olson says work on Highland High will take place virtually at the same time as work being done on West.
Main construction probably won't start until May of 2026. That school is not quite as complicated in what we have to do to work around. So that entire project should be done in 2030 or 2031.
Oh, wow. So, wow, those are two huge projects to be done both at the same time.
They are, yes.
All right. Anything that you'd like to add?
No, just, we're really excited to see these things finally come. We've finally come to fruition. We've looked at these schools for a long time and wondered, what do we do with them? Parts break down and they don't make parts for some of the old schools anymore, or we have to try and jury rig some other things. To see progress being made, we're just excited, and we're very grateful to the voters of Salt Lake City who have passed that bond to help us fund these projects.
Construction on West High is expected to begin this coming summer. Midday continues in just 60 seconds.
I'm Ed Evans, CEO of Consumer Cellular. We're dedicated to serving people 50 and up like me. Our needs are different. Big Wireless wants us in an unlimited plan, but if you're not using all that data, you're probably getting used. At Consumer Cellular, we're focused on affordable, reliable plans, including data that suits your needs, not ours. Our plans start at just $20, and you'll get the best customer service in the business.
Call 1-888-FREEDOM or visit consumercellular.com/facts. Plans include $5 credit for auto pay and e-billing. See site for additional facts.
Ready to order?
Yes. We're earning unlimited 3% cash back on dining and entertainment with a Capital One Saver card, so let's just get one of everything.
Everything?
Fire everything! The Capital One Saver card is at table 27, and they're earning unlimited 3% cash back.
Yes, Chef! This is so nice.
Had a feeling you'd want 3% cash back on dessert.
Ooh, tiramisu!
Earn unlimited 3% cash back on dining and entertainment with the Capital One Saver card. Capital One, what's in your wallet?
Terms apply. See CapitalOne.com for details.
Reading Railroad, Marvin Gardens, and Temple Square? Monopoly is coming to Salt Lake City. The iconic landlording board game responsible for so many family battles is taking suggestions from Utahns on what they'd like to see on their newest edition of the game. Top Trumps USA spokesperson Aaron Green says he's hard at work to make sure the game feels like the city that we all love.
I'm just beginning the process literally today. And then I'll spend the next 4 to 5 months visiting with these businesses and getting parks on there and mountain peaks and trails to make sure that this game looks and feels like Salt Lake City.
To make sure that the city is made with all the attention and detail they can muster, Green says that they implore Salt Lakers to make suggestions.
We want them because I'm not from here. This isn't my hometown. We want people to send in those ideas of their favorite little ice cream shop that's been around for 50 years, or maybe a famous soda shop, or a basketball team that they've been rooting for decades. Those are the things we want to see on the game. And then as we see those emails come in, those suggestions, I look through those with my team based back in Rhode Island. And when we see things reappear dozens or hundreds of times even, we go, we must pay attention to that. There's a certain park that everyone's talking about, and maybe I didn't know anything about this park. Well, now I need to go talk to the city to make sure that we can get it on the game. The challenge that I have is that there are only 22 squares on a Monopoly board, and something great is just bound to get left off, just the way it happens in every city because of the finite amount of properties on the board. And so that's why it's even more important that the public weighs in and tells us what they want to see.
Submit your ideas to saltlakecity@toptrumps.com. That's before December 26th, and your favorite soda shop may just live on that board game as a legend. It's Friday. That means it's time for a look at the cool stuff in Utah this weekend. We'll have more in just a few minutes, but first, traffic brought to you by Mountain America. Turn everyday spending into an extraordinary escape. Ricky?
And it is emergency traffic due to a crash on northbound I-15 in Murray. It's just after the south interchange on the way to 53rd South. If you're in Murray, this crash is blocking 3 left lanes of travel. And they haven't even attempted to start moving some of the vehicles out of the way. With only 3 right lanes open, we already have stop-and-go delays reaching 90th South in Sandy. The music of Phil Collins and Genesis comes to life like never before. From the pulse of In the Air Tonight to the power of Take Me Home. Tickets at utahsymphony.org. Ricky Meese in the KSL Traffic Center.
An emergency can happen any second.
Here's a few seconds to think about where you'd go. When you need medical care fast, the closest emergency room is a smart thing to know. Common Spirit Health ERs are your direct path between feeling scared or uncomfortable and feeling better. Find emergency care in your neighborhood at mountain.commonspirit.org.
The Utah RV Super Show, the premier RV event of the year, is back at the Mountain America Expo Center Thursday, September 11th through Sunday, September 14th. Come see new 2026 models and special closeout pricing on all 2025 models. The Utah RV Super Show is offering family passes Thursday, September 11th for $10 per family. Unplug from distractions and plug into family at the Utah RV Super Show. Discount passes at utahRVSupershow.com.
More than 50 million Americans suffer from a form of mental illness.
And Utah isn't immune, with nearly 1 in 3 people dealing with anxiety, depression, or another form of mental illness.
But there's hope. We can all take action to keep ourselves and our loved ones safe.
That's why KSL has teamed with the Huntsman Mental Health Foundation to bring you hope and help you thrive.
It's Healthy Mind Matters.
Find out more at healthymindmatters.com.
If you love to travel, Capital One has a rewards credit card that's perfect for you. With the Capital One Venture X card, you earn unlimited double miles on everything you buy. Plus, you get premium benefits at a collection of luxury hotels when you book on Capital One Travel. And with Venture X, you get access to over 1,000 airport lounges worldwide. Open up a world of travel possibilities with the Capital One Venture X card. What's in your wallet?
Terms apply. Lounge access is subject to change. See CapitalOne.com for details.
This is the story of the one. As a custodial supervisor at a high school, he knows that during cold and flu season, germs spread fast. It's why he partners with Grainger to stay fully stocked on the products and supplies he needs, from tissues to disinfectants to floor scrubbers. All so that he can help students, staff, and teachers stay healthy and focused. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
September means it's time for Any Hour Services free furnace sale. What's up, everybody? I'm Mike Wilson with Any Hour Services, and as summer comes to a close and falls right around the corner, the weather gets, well, perfect. And when the weather's perfect, people need a little extra incentive to replace their heating and cooling system. That's where Any Hour Services free furnace sale comes in. For the month of September, when you have Any Hour Services install a new air conditioner, we'll give you a new furnace for just the cost to install it. About $400. The furnace is free, you just pay the labor. And there's no catch. There's no raising the price on the air conditioner first. There's no making you buy the most expensive air conditioner to qualify. There's none of that. There's just a desire to keep our technicians working while the weather's mild and a genuine appreciation of you for helping us keep them busy. So if you've been thinking about replacing your old furnace and air conditioner and want to know exactly how much you can save during our free furnace sale, call Any Hour Services today and schedule a free estimate. Google Any Hour Services or schedule online at anyhourservices.com. No one helps more homeowners than Any Hour Services.
At Peach Windows and Doors, they help homeowners stay in the homes they love while upgrading to the elegance, efficiency, and natural light of today. With hundreds of 5-star Google reviews, their clients know Peach Windows and Doors deliver what they promise.
I wanted to replace standard-sized French doors with a large custom sliding door. The update required checking a weight-bearing wall. Plus, I wanted a couple of different styles of windows. The new sliding door created a much brighter and open look. Peach was so helpful along the way with recommendations and ideas, and the installers were efficient and respectful of my space. I was thrilled with Peach Windows and Doors.
Give your $1 million home the $1 million feel it deserves. Don't wait on that someday project. Visit Peach Windows and Doors Salt Lake Showroom. Schedule a free in-home visit. You can also explore at peachwindowsanddoors.com or just call them at 801-566-1255. Peach Windows and Doors, where amazing home transformations begin.
This is Midday. I'm Maria Shilaos. It's Friday, time for cool stuff in Utah with John Smith, and it's been a tough week for Utahns. And John, we need some fun stuff to talk about.
You know, and that's the fun thing. My co-host Sam and I, when we do our show on 103.5 The Arrow, some days are hard to wake up and be funny.
But the whole week?
But the whole week, yeah, you know, that's what I'm looking forward to. I'm looking forward to a weekend of big fun. I'm looking for a week of big fun. So I got a couple of things for you to check out.
Okay.
One, The Jonas Brothers are in town. The Joe Bros.
Hey,
They're at
their
the
new
Utah First Credit
song
Union
that
Amphitheater
keeps the
tomorrow
Saturday Night Fever lyric in it. Did you know that?
What? I did not know this.
Oh my gosh!
My
husband and I
co-host
had an
Sam is here.
argument
She's
about
nodding her head.
this.
Do you know what this is?
I am also going to the Jonas Brothers concert, so I am so excited. And I'm there for the new stuff, but I'm more there for the old stuff. I heard that they're going to sing potentially the year 3000, and the way that I loved that song at the age of 8 or 9.
I have no idea what you're talking about.
You don't know?
No.
And I went to the
No.
year 3. Really?
Anyway.
Nothing?
So, me, not a Jonas Brothers fan. I will not be going to the show. However,
let's move along.
Fear Factory opening up this weekend.
Yes.
Of course, world famous haunted house, one of the top attractions on the planet when it comes to haunted attraction walkthroughs. They work on this. My friend Spencer Terry is their marketing director, and he tells me they work on the Fear Factory all year round. And just 2 months ago, a portion of it caught on fire.
They had a fire.
Remember that? So they've had to rebuild portions of
But
it.
they say
have
it
a
makes
whole
it
new
even
show.
cooler.
Right? It totally does.
Fire scars
Yes.
make it cooler.
So, if you're looking to go to Fear Factory, make sure you get your tickets online. You can save yourself a couple of bucks. Maybe get yourself a front of the line pass, a fast pass.
Okay, more importantly, though, you have done a video that people can go watch.
Thank you.
Cool
Yes.
stuff in Utah on YouTube.
Yes.
And tell us about what you see in this video.
So they take us down to the part of the Fear Factory where there was an actual death when this was the Portland Cement Factory.
I've got goosebumps now.
A guy
What in the
got
world?
caught in the gears, and they say his ghost wanders the halls to this day, if you believe in that sort of thing.
I can't go there.
Yeah,
Now
ghosts
I'm
not
just
my
scared
thing.
already.
But they have
pretty
some
cool.
of the best scenes and best actors in the country putting on this show. So, Fear Factory, not your thing. That's cool. The State Fair is going on. We have
That's
a
all you're
video
gonna tell
on
us
our.
about your video?
We have a video at the State Fair as well.
Okay.
We got to go on some rides. Got to chow down on some funnel cake. Got to play with some carnival games. Won some prizes.
Mm-hmm.
It's a good time. So you can find that at the 1035 The Arrow Facebook page.
Okay, go back to Fear Factory for a minute and tell us more about your video. You just wanted to really
hooked
move on.
this.
You know what? I love fall. I love Halloween. I not so much into being scared, but I think people are ready to have a little bit of scared.
Okay, so
in
back
a
to
less
Fear
realistic way.
Back to Fear Factory. It was the Portland Cement Factory
Mm-hmm.
for decades until the late 1980s is when it closed down. Fun fact: my parents' house was actually built using Portland cement, and I have a bag of Portland cement sitting in their house. I was going to donate it to the Fear Factory, but it's a bag of cement, and it weighs 80 pounds. And I'm
You're
like,
like,
yeah, I'm
"It's
just
a
going to
bag
leave
of
that in my
cement."
mom's garage. That's fine. I sent them a picture. It's actually in the YouTube video, too, if
Cool.
you want to go check that out. You'll see some of the special effects. You get to see us go behind the scenes. And, of course, you get to experience some of the haunts and frights that go along with the Fear Factory.
Okay, so and always a unique moment where they scare you.
Yes. We have some of the other haunted houses, too. We've done Nightmare on
okay.
13th. We've done the Asylum 49. And we've done the Salt Lake City Cemetery. If you're looking for spooky stuff to watch on YouTube, cool stuff in Utah is a great place to check out.
Perfect. Did we catch all of the stuff you wanted to tell us about that's happening this weekend?
I sure hope so.
John, as always, thanks for being with me.
Thanks, Maria.
Okay, Jeff, have you heard the Jonas Brothers' latest song, No Time to Talk?
No, you alluded to it. I have no idea what you're talking
They
about.
use a phrase from the old Bee Gees song, Stayin' Alive, that was used in the movie Saturday Night Fever. See if you recognize it. Okay, it was the same till that point.
Wait. This is the Jonas Brothers?
Isn't that funny?
Where's the staying alive?
Okay, they took the Stayin' Alive out, or then they would have been copying the song, you know.
No,
They
you don't
say,
want that.
hey, they admire the Bee Gees, they've had an influence on them, and they use that phrase.
Go home. Dance a bit.
Have a
will
great
you?
weekend.
KSL FM Midvale.
KSL Salt Lake City.
From the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios, this is KSL News Radio.
Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
Yeah, tough week. 3 o'clock at KSL News Radio. I'm Jeff Kaplan, 75 degrees. KSL's top story. It took 33 hours, thousands of tips, and screenshots of a Discord server to get the guy suspected of killing Charlie Kirk. Let's go inside with special coverage, beginning with KSL News Radio's Eric Cabrera. He's live in Orem. Eric?
Jeff, 22-year-old Tyler Robinson is from Washington, Utah, just outside of St. George. Investigators say he's the man seen on surveillance video at Utah Valley University Tuesday morning, moments before the shooting that killed Charlie Kirk. He was arrested early this morning after a massive statewide investigation that included local police, federal partners, and the FBI. Students on campus were shaken when they learned the suspect was caught. KSL News Radio's Adam Small spoke with some of them today.
I feel a lot better, but honestly, I don't feel that much better.
Anthony Shinkle's a freshman here at UVU. He and his friends were out holding signs saying things like, "We are not afraid and don't tread on us," but the rattlesnake is replaced with a beehive. Anthony's cousin McKinley tells me that's because they want people, regardless of their political stance, to come together and healthily share their views with one another.
You know, I want to show solidarity with Utah as well. Utah does not stand for this. This is completely ridiculous.
The campus has been largely lifeless with students out of class. All we've seen are a few people leaving flowers at a small memorial near the roundabout, though there have been a lot of people driving around the roundabout, some of whom Shinkle claims have heckled them, harassed them, or even celebrated Charlie Kirk's death. He says they're not worried about safety when they and other students come back to class on Monday, but they are concerned about violence at future events on campus.
We're in a new era here where people are getting crazy, man.
At UVU, Adam Small, KSL News Radio.
Today, investigators gave us the clearest picture yet of how they track Robinson down. The breakthrough came late last night when Robinson's own family and a trusted family friend came forward. They went to the Washington County Sheriff's Office with information that he had either confessed or strongly implied that he was the shooter. From there, investigators began piecing together evidence, including Discord messages they say Robinson had sent to his roommate. Messages that talked about retrieving a rifle from a hidden spot, watching it from a distance to make sure no one found it, and even engraving messages on bullet casings. DPS Commissioner Bo Mason says it was the family's courage that made a peaceful arrest possible.
That can't be an easy thing to turn a family member in, whether that's a son or brother or whatever that is. But it was so important. It was so great to see that happen.
Robinson is now in the Utah County Jail. Prosecutors have 3 days to file formal charges, and investigators say they are confident he acted alone, though they're still tracing his exact movements before and after the shooting. From UVU, Eric Cabrera, KSL News Radio.
Utah's Attorney General has been meeting with federal prosecutors. Derek Brown says the reason is to figure out whether the state or federal courts will put Tyler Robinson on trial. KSL News Radio's Randall Jepson continues our special coverage.
Federal and state prosecutors, they have different...
He's silenced. This morning, when he made the announcement, "We got him," Governor